evening and welcome to the Good evening and welcome to the September 14th meeting of the Florissant City Council. I would ask you to stand and join the council and myself in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin, if you would like to address the council during the hearing from citizens portion of the meeting, I would ask that you complete a speaker's card located on the table next to the chamber's entrance and forward that to Mr. Hessel. Roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Shildroth. Here. Hankey. Here. Pagano. Schmidt. Siam. Lee. Here. Jones. Here. Egan.
Here.
Caputa.
Here. Let the record reflect that a quorum is present. Mr. Siam makes a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the August 24th meeting. That is seconded by Mr. Jones. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Let the record reflect that the meeting minutes were approved. Hearing from citizens. Now is the time for the citizens to address the council. Again, if you would like to address the council on a topic that is not scheduled for a public hearing this evening, please complete a speaker's card located on the table next to the chamber's entrance. Be aware that this is not a question and answer period. This is a period for you to have 3 minutes to address the council. Number one, Powers, Rita Powers. Good evening, Ms. Powers. If you'll state your name and your address for the record, I'd be appreciative.
Rita Powers, 110 Seville Court, Florissant, Missouri.
Thank you, ma'am.
As you know, I've addressed the council before. I live right behind the new Walmart that has come in. I brought some pictures to demonstrate. This is the picture of my home when Walmart was first starting. This is the picture of the pipes that were going in. This is the picture of them digging right behind my house. Right now, it's sinking right behind my house. Here's a picture of the sinkhole. It goes along the back of the house. My fears were confirmed last year that if they built with me at the bottom of the hill, my property would sink. My property is sinking. Last week, there's something wrong, I think, with the retention pond. They have brought many people out looking at it. They put this black portable fence up, so they have not finished the bottom section behind my house. Don't know what's going on, but since it's behind my house, I would like to know how it is affecting my land that is sinking. This is the pond that has algae or something green on top of it. Is this safe for my health and my citizens of Florissant's health? This is at the end of my street, right by my driveway, maybe 5 feet from where I pull out. The city of Florissant has not taken care of it. Would you like to live next door to this? At the city council meeting where Walmart was approved, I asked Mr. Jeffrey Piello to also buy my property. He said no. I emailed him for over a year, no response, many headaches. My worst fears. In late August, Jeff Otto emailed me saying he was not on the construction of the property. He would give my concerns to Walmart. Mark Woodridge sent out Patrick Kinsella to look over concerns. Called Patrick Kinsella to get some results. Said he only had pencil notes. No one wants them yet. Mark Woodridge responded that my concerns and observations went to Walmart. Since then, I cannot get anyone to tell me what is going on. I need you to find out what is going on behind my property and how it affects my property. I need a name to contact. Walmart doesn't respond. Come and see for yourself what is happening.
Thank you, Ms. Powers. You give those photographs to Mr. Hessel. Thank you, ma'am. Paul Manganelli. Good evening, Mr. Manganelli. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Paul Manganelli. Maganelli, 1600 Estes. Been wanting to come up here for a couple weeks now. Our last food truck event was about 2 weeks ago. Again, it's my heartfelt appreciation to the city of, City of Florissant for all their help with the Florissant Food Truck Nights. It was another great event, and the help that we received from the city, from the employees, for the, all the little things that they do, really makes it, makes it a great evening. We had a big donation for team as far as canned food, so that was good. And with our tip money, we were also able to make a cash donation to team as well. So again, I just want to thank the city, and of course our next one and last one of the evening, our last one of the year is October 9th. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Maganelli. Next item on the agenda, public hearings. Correction, communication, and there is none. Next item on the agenda, public hearings. Public hearing 15-09-021.
In accordance with Section 405-310 of the Florissant zoning code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri in the council chambers at 955 Rue St. Francois on Monday, September 14th, 2015, at 7:30 p.m. on the following proposition: to authorize an amendment to special permit number 8028 to Star United LLC, DBA Phillips 66, to allow for additions to the existing building in a B3 zoning district for the property located at 2020 Patterson Road. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact the city clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or TDD 839-5142.
Thank you. Is the petitioner, Mr. Gary Plesser, available? Good evening, sir. Thank you. If you'd step forward, state your name and your address for the record, I'd be appreciative.
Sure. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council. My name is Gary Ploser. My address is 12015 Manchester Road, 63131.
Very good, sir. Thank you. The floor is yours. If you need to use the overhead, you may do so.
I'm here representing Star United. They have the Phillips 66 at Humes and Patterson. The address is 2020 Patterson. I have some photos of the area before the. This is looking at the site from Patterson, and I have a photo of the site from Humes. We were in before on the last year, got an approval for the remodeling the inside, and since changed their mind. This area right here, they were gonna leave it as exterior restrooms. They decided against that, but we had gotten approval for that, and they had one interior restroom that was gonna be a unisex. So you have a set of these plans. This is the floor plan of the new area. This area right here where the restrooms used to be is now going to be storage. And then they've added a men's and a women's interior bathroom, so they cut down on the cooler size a little bit. So that's what we're here tonight for, is to get approval of that so they can, I guess you've been by the site, they're taking up the tanks, putting in the new tanks. Here's a photo of the site. This is the before, and this is what they're doing now. So we're here tonight to get 8 feet addition on this side, and then a little bit longer cooler in the back. Any questions?
Yes, I do. And so essentially you're taking the exterior restrooms and eliminating those, making that storage, but adding a men and women's restroom in the interior of the building.
That is correct. Yes.
Mr. Caputa?
Thank you, Mr. President. How you doing?
Fine.
Went by there the other day to look at that, and I have no problems with this a little different variance from their first plans. But yeah, I don't have no problem with this. This should go over well. Everybody that I've talked to in the ward, everybody's looking forward to it. when you're getting finished and opening up.
Yeah, I think you probably know more than I. Are the new tanks in? They put the new tanks in?
Yes, I believe they have.
I thought it was, yeah, like last week. Okay, very good, thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not seeing any further questions from the dais. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make comment at this public hearing? Seeing none, Mr. Caputo makes a motion to close the public hearing. That is seconded by Mr. Siam. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Public hearing CDBG fiscal year 2016.
Public notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held on Monday, September 14th, 2015, at 7:30 p.m. at Florissant City Hall, Council Chambers, concerning fiscal year 2006 annual plan for the Florissant Community Development Block Grant Program.
Thank you, Ms. Christine Kyle? Evening, Christine. If you'll state your name and use the city's address, I'm guessing.
Hi, my name is Chris Kyle. I live at 110 St. Pierre. I'm a member of the Citizens Participation Committee. The CPC met on September the 3rd, where we were presented the recommended community block grant programs and anticipated allocation for fund year 2016. The CPC committee unanimously approved the 2016 CGBD annual plan as presented, and it has been included in your packet. As you will see, we are continuing to fund programs that will address the city's priority needs that were established in the 5-year consolidated plan. We are anticipating for 2016 that we receive the same amount of funds that we did this year, $217,568. That money will be spent $112,054.40 on the home improvement program, $40,000 on the home improvement program for mechanical needs, $10,000 for the COPS program. In addition, we will also fund the public services of Jamestown New Horizons for $2,000 and mortgage rental and utility assistance for $10,000. The remaining funds of $43,513.60 will go for administration. The draft of the annual plan, which is here, will be available on the city's website or at the Community Development Office for review and will be open for a 30-day public comment period, which will end at 5 p.m. on Thursday, October 15th. We would like to encourage people to review the plan and submit any comments to the Community Development Office. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I see no questions from the dais, but let's open it up for the people in the audience in case someone in the audience. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to make comment on this, please step forward now. Seeing none, Mr. Schildroff makes a motion to close this public hearing. It is seconded by Ms. Pagano. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Old business. Bill number 9120. I will make a motion for the second reading, and that will be seconded by Mr. Schildroff. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Please read the bill for a second time.
Ordinance authorizing a special use permit to HRLH Incorporated DBA Viet Thai to allow for the operation of a restaurant in a B3 zoning district located at 8458 North Lindbergh.
I'll make a motion for a third reading. Seconded by Ms. Pagano. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Please read the bill for a third time, ma'am.
Ordinance authorizing a special use permit to HRLH Incorporated DBA Viet Thai to allow for the operation of a restaurant in a B3 zoning district located at 8458 North Lindbergh.
Prior to final vote being taken on this bill, is there anyone in the audience that would like to make comment? Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council.
Shildroth. Yes. Hanky. Yes. Pagano. Yes. Schmidt. Yes. Siam? Lee? Jones? Egan?
Yes.
Caputa?
Yes.
Bill 9120 passes and becomes ordinance 8163. 8163. Bill 9120. Mr. Schmidt makes a motion for a second reading, seconded by Mr. Lee. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Clerk, please read the bill a second time.
Ordinance to authorize an amendment to special use permit number 8128 to Kevin McDaniel, DBA Bootsy's Barbecues, Burger, and More, to allow for an outdoor smoker in a B2 zoning district for the property located at 12675 New Halls Ferry Road.
Mr. Schmidt makes a motion for a third reading. That is seconded by Mr. Hinkie. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Please read the bill a third time.
Ordinance to authorize an amendment to special use permit number 8128 to Kevin McDaniel, DBA Bootsy's Barbecues, Burgers, and More, to allow for an outdoor smoker in a B2 zoning district for the property located at 12675 New Halls Ferry Road.
Prior to a final vote being taken on this bill, is there anyone in the audience that would like to make comment? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please poll the council.
Shildroth.
Yes.
Hanky.
Yes.
Pagano. Schmidt. Siam. Lee. Jones. Egan.
Yes.
Caputa.
Yes.
Bill 9121 passes and becomes ordinance 8164. 8164. Bill 9122. Mr. Siam makes a motion for a second reading. That is seconded by Mr. Shildroff. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Please read the bill a second time.
Ordinance to authorize an amendment to special permit number 2543 as amended to Handyman Hardware Incorporated, DBA Handyman Hardware, to allow for the existing sign to include digital in a B3 zoning district for the property located at 2635 North Highway 67.
Mr. Siam makes a motion for a third reading. That is seconded by Mr. Caputa. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill a third time.
Ordinance to authorize an amendment to special permit number 2543 as amended to Handyman Hardware Incorporated, DBA Handyman Hardware, to allow for the existing sign to include digital in a B3 zoning district for the property located at 2635 North Highway 67.
Prior to a final vote being taken on this bill, is there anyone in the audience that would like to make comment? Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council.
Shildroth.
Yes.
Hanky.
Yes.
Pagano.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Siam. Lee.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Caputa.
Yes.
Bill 9122 passes and becomes ordinance 8165. 8165. Bill 9123. Mr. Siam makes a motion for a second reading. That is seconded by Mr. Lee. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill a second time.
Ordinance authorizing the repainting of an existing painted masonry for the property located at 2700 North Highway 67.
Mr. Siam makes a motion for a third reading. That is seconded by Mr. Schmidt. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Clerk, please read the bill for a third time.
Ordinance authorizing the repainting of existing painted masonry for the property located at 2700 North Highway 67.
Prior to a final vote being taken on this bill, is there anyone in the audience that would like to make comment? Sir, please state your name and your address for the record.
My name's Kevin O'Donnell, 512 Rancho Lane. My question is, why are we doing this now? Because it's already been painted 2 months ago. This reminds me of the Doozles thing, Doozles painting. Was there a fine for doing this without permission, without going through the city? And why are we doing this now? Is this just to make it look good for the city and good for Advanced Auto? That's all I have.
Mr. Lee?
Mr. O'Donnell, just to answer your questions real quickly, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of history. Advance Auto Parts or the building owner was cited for peeling paint and was basically told you need to fix the peeling paint. And there was, I'm not gonna say there was an error on the city's part, but they said, okay, I got a citation, I gotta paint the building, and they did it. And they did it to match their new corporate color scheme, and so technically, they didn't do what they were supposed to do, but it then went through planning and zoning and got all the permissions that they're supposed to have. So there was some confusion. They were just trying to do what they were supposed to do to be in compliance, so.
So the building inspector that cited the advanced auto didn't know that they were supposed to have gone through the city council to make sure that this is...
The building inspector had nothing to do with it. The building inspector cited it for...
He cited them, but he
for a
knows the
maintenance
rules.
violation.
He knows the rules. I know the rules. Masonry law, masonry rules.
And again, Mr. O'Donnell, I'm not faulting the company, I'm not faulting the inspector.
I'm faulting the city.
There was some confusion over what they needed to do, and they've now complied with the ordinance. And I'm not holding anybody responsible. I think it was a good change, so.
Okay, well, I appreciate your
Thank you, Mr.
response.
Lee.
I appreciate your response, but I don't think that this satisfactory, because this is not the first time this has happened. And I don't know what the reason for the other one at Duzel's was, but I know that and then there was Church's Chicken before that. So, I mean, this comes up time and time again. I didn't just move into Florissant last week. I've lived here 60 years. So my question is, was anybody reprimanded or anything at the city for doing this? I mean, to me, this is violating the city law. That's as bad as a home violation on your house or another business. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's wrong.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. That would be a
Thank you.
personnel situation we could not discuss publicly, as you're aware of. Madam Clerk, please poll the council.
Shildroth.
Yes.
Hanky.
Yes.
Pagano.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Cyan. Lee.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes?
Caputa.
Yes.
Bill number 9123 passes and becomes ordinance 8166. 8166. Moving on to new business, board appointments. Seeing none, resolutions. Resolution 980. Resolution of the City of Florissant supporting a grant application for the construction of a Korean War Memorial and Monument at St. Ferdinand Park. Motion's made by Mr. Shildroff, seconded by Mr. Lee. Any discussion? All in favor? That was second reading, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought resolutions, I just did that. You go right ahead, ma'am.
Resolution of the City of Florissant supporting a grant application for the construction of a Korean War Memorial and Monument at St. Ferdinand Park.
Will we read that again?
Now you're on, now you're third reading.
Okay, for a third reading, I'll make a motion for a third reading, seconded again by Mr. Shildroff.
Roll call.
Any discussion? Roll call vote on the resolution, please.
Shildroth. Hanky. Pagano. Schmidt. Cyan. Lee.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Caputa.
Yes.
Now you may read it for a third time, please.
Resolution of the City of Florissant supporting grant application for the construction of a Korean War Memorial and Monument at St. Ferdinand Park.
Prior to a final vote being taken on this resolution, is there anyone in the audience who would like to make comment? Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Shildroth.
Yes.
Hanky.
Yes.
Pagano.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Cyan. Lee.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Caputa.
Yes.
Let the record reflect that the resolution passed. Bills for first reading. Bill number 9124.
Ordinance authorizing an amendment to special permit number 8028 to Star United LLC, DBA Phillips 66, to allow for an addition to the existing building in a B3 zoning district for the property located at 2020 Patterson Road.
Bill 9125.
Ordinance granting a special use permit to Taste Buds Catering, DBA Taste Buds Catering, to allow for the location and operation of a catering business, and a special use permit for a restaurant for the property located at 1A Malamphy Gardens Shopping Center.
Mr. Caputa?
No, I did it by mistake, sorry.
9126.
Ordinance authorizing an appropriation of $35,000 from the General Revenue Fund of the City of Florissant to account number 4059 election expense for the purpose of funding the November 3rd, 2015 election.
9127.
Ordinance authorizing a transfer of $12,000 from account number 4610 salaries Bangert Pool to account number 4626 utilities Bangert Pool, and a transfer of $25,000 from account number 5010 salaries Coke Pool to account number 5626 utilities Coke Pool for the projected utility expenses through the end of the fiscal year for the Parks Department.
Mr. Lee?
I'm sorry, this is 26. I think you had said 27. I want to comment on 27, so.
There was an error on the agenda. It's
Okay.
9127.
Okay.
We're reading 9127 right now.
Oh, we are? Okay.
The next one?
Next one's 9128. Okay.
Sorry.
9128.
Ordinance amending chapters 100, 080, general penalty, and 100, 090, schedule of court costs of the Florissant City Code of Ordinances to comply with Senate Bill 5.
Mr. Lee?
Thank you. I'd like to request 3 readings tonight. This is to bring our court in compliance with the new provisions of the Senate Bill 5, and I think it would be appropriate to get them on the books as soon as possible. So move for a second.
Mr. Schmidt?
Never mind. No, I thought you were going to discuss the bill, and I was going to say you're going to have to move it to a second reading in order to discuss it, but that's fine. He's moving it.
Mr. Lee has made a motion for a second reading. I will second that motion. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Not yet. I need to read it for a second.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Ordinance amending chapters 100.080, general penalty, and 100.090, schedule of court cost of the City of Florissant, of the Florissant City Code of Ordinances to comply with Senate Bill 5.
Second by Mr. Lee. Motion by Mr. Lee, second by myself. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Shildroth. Yes. Hanky.
Yes.
Pagano.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Siam. Yes. Lee.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Caputa.
Yes.
Please read the bill.
Ordinance amending chapter 100.080, general penalty, and 100.090, schedule of court cost of the Florissant City Code of Ordinances to comply with Senate Bill 5.
Mr. Lee makes a motion for a third reading.
You're done.
Done?
You already did 3.
I've lost track. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to make comment on this before we take a final vote? Roll call vote.
Shildroth.
Yes.
Hanky.
Yes.
Pagano.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Siam. Lee.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Egan.
Yes.
Caputa.
Yes.
Bill 9128 passes and becomes ordinance 8167. 8167. Item number 9, I will make a motion to move the September 28th City Council meeting to Tuesday, September 29th due to scheduling conflicts. That is seconded by Mr. Caputa. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item 10, council announcements. Mr. Jones.
Well, if anybody's got time or a couple extra bucks in their pocket, please don't forget Teams right down the street, you guys. There's always somebody hungry morning, noon, and night. So if anybody's got any extra canned goods or a couple extra bucks in their pocket, please stop by Team. Thanks.
take a moment and congratulate Mr. Hessel as being named Lawyer of the Year for Municipal Law. Once again, congratulations, Mr. Hessel. Also would like to remind everyone that the second annual Race to the Shrine 5K run through Old Town Florissant is occurring on the best weekend of the year in Florissant. That'll be October 10th. It has the same weekend as the food trucks up at the nights and one of our favorite festivals, the Fall Festival, which is on Sunday. So if you wish to be involved in that as a sponsor, as a volunteer, as a runner or walker, get a hold of myself or racetotheshrine.org. Your Honor?
Thank you, Mr. Egan. I know we did have a moment of silence for Mr. Earl Schwabo, but I just wanted to share again some of the accolades. There was a pretty substantial funeral procession from Hutchins for his funeral. He was laid to rest with honors at Jefferson Barracks. Mr. Schwabo retired from the United States Army after 20 years as a chief warrant officer, and then he served 40 years as a police officer and department head with the city of Florissant. Also, after he retired from Florissant, he served as a volunteer at the Lambert USO. Mr. Schwabo was captured when U.S. troops had to surrender to the Philippines. He served 42 months as a prisoner of war in World War II before finally being released and returned home. Anyway, his funeral procession was led by over 20 law enforcement motorcycles comprised of Florissant, St. Charles County, Hazelwood, Maryland Heights, Webster Grove, St. Anne's, and also the Patriot Guard. So just a fine citizen and a great example to the rest of us. Then staying with the patriotic theme, on September 11th, we were really happy to see most of the councilmen were there. I know, Ms. Regan, you were on duty, but other than that, we had all the other council members there to remember 9/11, the 14th anniversary of 9/11. I think we're one of the few communities that have that commemoration. It was well attended and a very solemn ceremony at our VFW, and we're very happy to sponsor that. We had a grand opening for the tennis courts on August 26th, actually August 25th. We had 4 generations of Florissant residents there. Mr. Charlie Dial, along with his son, his grandson, and his great-grandson, they were the ceremonial doubles teams that opened up the tennis courts. Then it was followed by a competition between McClure North and Riverview women's tennis teams. And then on the 26th, we had the grand opening of the Super Walmart store on North Highway 67. That was well attended and much anticipated. This was one of the, I think it's the only Walmart in the state of Missouri that was constructed without the approval of public assistance by the community that it was located in. Yet it's still a very anticipated store. That's on, it's just kind of, we had like a coincidence, kind of an ironic coincidence with that grand opening, because the property that it's located on used to be the Zyken waste hauling property. Then later that same day, just so happens that we dedicated a walk through history plaque to Don Zyken Sr. On our walk through history. Mr. Zyken was very involved in the community, always gave back, and was involved in many of the organizations that made this community great. Starting tonight and then through Thursday, there is a very interesting performance going on at the Egan Center Theater. We have this is the second production nationally of a play that had the grand opening in Atlanta, and it's a timely story about Martin Luther King Jr. and his mentor from Morehouse College. And this is called Only Just a Minute, and it's sponsored by Emerson, Matthew Dickey's Boys Club, Monsanto, the Missouri Arts Council, Regional Arts Council. Tickets are $25. It's anticipated that this may be a classic that will be a serious work to reflect on for many years to come. And we're only the second performance ever. We also have a suicide prevention awareness event on Saturday, September 19th. It's a 5K run at St. Ferdinand Park, and it's to raise money and awareness. Youth are particularly vulnerable to this. We lose more people than you'd like to admit to suicide. This is to bring awareness to it and to raise money to prevent it. Then also on Sunday, September 27th, our much acclaimed horseshoe tournament will be held at Bangor Park. And then also on September 30th, our Wednesday night out, we'll have the commemoration of another walk through history plaque to the late Johnny Londoff on St. Francis Street, and that'll be followed by the Wednesday night out at Handel's. On September 16th, we have the Boards and Commissions dinner at the Egan Center. On September 17th, we have a senior town hall breakfast. And on October 1st, we have a general town hall meeting for everyone in the evening at Egan Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lee?
At the conclusion of the meeting, I'm going to move we return to a closed executive session, if you're done.
Mr. Lee makes a motion to go to closed executive session at the end of this meeting. I will second that. All in favor? Aye. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Schmidt?
Yes.
Siam? Yes. Lee?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Egan?
Yes.
Fuda?
Yes.
The next meeting of the Florissant City Council will be Tuesday, September 29th. Tuesday, September 29th at 7:30. Your Honor?
Just a reminder also, we'll mention this at every meeting, that there's going to be a special election on November 3rd for the voters to consider Proposition S for safe streets. And there'll be more information in the newspapers and by the city and at the meetings that we'll be holding between now and then. Thank you.
Mr. Schultz makes a motion to close the meeting. That is seconded by Mr. Hanky. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Council stand adjourned into executive session, please. Close executive